if you're a freshman or a transfer, then unless you're doing some crazy things, you probably remember quite clearly, right? But if you're a senior, right, maybe a little bit more difficult. I'm a senior, right? So I'm having a little trouble remembering too, but one thing I do remember quite clearly is that I was really ready for a fresh start. And so if you don't mind, I can tell a little bit about my story, because I think it'll bring to life what AAIV means to me, and hopefully what it can mean to you too. So I grew up in a church-going family. Can't really remember a time when I didn't believe in God. For me, I guess just the universe in which God doesn't exist. It doesn't make much sense. How do you answer the deep questions about life? Like, why are we here? Who made us? What's our purpose? And what happens after life, right? But I think a lot of people don't really think too deeply about it. And to be honest, even though I believed in God, I don't think I thought about it too deeply either. I think a lot of it was because I didn't feel that need to. Life was good, right? Made it to Cornell, so that meant something, right? But I distinctly remember the second half of my senior year, going into the summer before college, life kind of fell apart. Without going too much into the details, I was in a bad relationship with a girl. I had a falling out with my parents. There was honestly, I think, not a single person I trusted and could confide in. And I remember being lonely and frustrated and wondering how it all got messed up. And then I moved to Ithaca. And when I moved in, I remember this is what I wanted. I wanted a fresh start. And what I wanted more than anything else was I wanted to be a good Christian. I know I'm weird, right? But everyone comes in, I think, to college wanting to be good, fill in the blank, right? We've all got our list. I want to be a good student, right? Don't forget that. I want to be a good socializer, life of the party. I want to be a good leader. I want to be a good talker. I want to be good looking, whatever. But everyone's got their list, right? Everyone's got their list. But here's the thing, what happens when we have these expectations put on us by people, professors, friends, ourselves, we end up faking it. So what happens is when we realize we want to be good at whatever, fill in the blank, and we can't reach that, we do what we think is the next best thing and pretend to be someone that we're not. And I think that's especially true for Cornell students, to be honest, right? Especially maybe Asian American students. People around us are constantly telling us how great we are, right? Orientation, we have all these speakers, right? I had this experience yesterday, first day of classes. I'm in this class from a business minor, and I'm expecting this is going to be an easy A. And the professor stands up and he gives this motivational speech about what these things that we're going to accomplish in the class. And at one point he says, if you are here to read a few chapters in the book and learn how to answer a few questions in the textbook, then you're in the wrong place. And I'm thinking, I think you're right. And then he goes on to say, you're not here just to learn how to manage some business, you're here to learn how to change the world. I'm like, I'm here for A. He goes on to say it's required that you have a critical mind and a strategic mind. I was like, I'm still just here for the A. And then the worst part at the end, he says there's a no laptop policy, you have to take notes. It's not related to anything, but it just really was ending on a bad note for me. But here's the thing, right? The problem with that, when there's all these expectations put on us, we're just afraid, right? I think, to be honest, Cornell students, we're motivated by this profound fear of failure, right? We want to be found out for who we are, basically. And it's possible that these expectations placed on us are actually counterproductive. Questions like, what if I don't get A's like I did in high school? What if I don't make friends? What if I don't find my social circle? What if people don't like me? And God forbid, what if someone does better than me? And so here's my theory. On some level, everyone in this room is faking something. And that means on some level, everyone here is afraid of being found out, exposed, vulnerable. So we fake it. And see, Jesus, he meet all these people who are faking it too, actually. This is something that's been going on for the history of mankind, right? He'd come up to these religious people and he'd talk to them all the time. And what happened is he'd go up and say something that we've always wanted to say too. He'd go up to them This one time Jesus goes up to them, these religious people. These are the people who've been studying the Bible and they've been praying all day and they've been going to church every week, right? They're the leaders of the fellowships. And he goes up to them and says, you're like whitewashed tombs that on the outside you look really put together, but on the inside you're about as attractive as a corpse. And some of you love this, and some of you should love this if you don't, because that means he's doing what you've always wanted to do, which is go up to those judgmental, uptight Christians and ask them, does it hurt? What? Having a stick that far up your butt. Right? Some of you love this, but then some of you hate it because if you think about it, you realize Jesus might be talking about you. But then here's the thing, Jesus is talking about all of us, right? Everyone's sort of faking it, right? This is, what, the second day of classes? You're meeting all these people, right? These questions are coming up. What if I'm not accepted? What if they find out? What? Jesus is talking about all of us. And when Jesus says that, you're like a whitewashed tomb. It's harsh, it's offensive, and it's actually pretty loving. God is actually pretty loving when he does that, because maybe secretly on some level, we're actually all hoping that would be found out, because maybe that means we won't have to live with it anymore, because it's actually kind of exhausting. Because, back to my story, when I came in as a freshman, I was trying to fake it, right? Being a good Christian. And I remember the first time, it just felt like I was dying on the inside. You know, I had joined AAIV as a freshman, and I'd go to all the meetings, I'd read the Bible, I'd pray, I'd do all these things, but it wouldn't make a difference, because if you've ever known someone who's faking it, all they're doing is slowly putting themselves inside. But I remember so clearly, at the end of the semester, something amazing happened. I think it was really the people in AAIV that made that difference. I found out who Jesus was and what he did for me. I found out that Jesus, when he called those people out, it's not that he stopped there. That was just the starting place. What he do is he called these people out, but then he died for them. Because everyone is faking it, dying on the inside. Whatever's on the top of your list, I want to be the good, fill in the blank, whatever. You're faking it, you're dying. And Jesus says, let me die for you, so that you don't have to die. All you have to do is trust me. And I remember when I realized that, and in my first semester here, freshman year, done deal. I'm all in. Why wouldn't I want to be able to come clean, get rid of everything that had happened, and start fresh? Because here's the truth, college, it didn't give me the fresh start I was looking for, but Jesus did. And to be honest, being in AIV for the past 3 years and counting, this is the lesson that I'm learning every single moment. It's not just a one-time thing, right? It happened freshman year, it's happening in this very moment, right? And so this is our theme for our semester here at AIV. Faking it. Or faking it. And why did we choose this theme then? We saw it, yellow smiley face, we're like, we're Asian, we're yellow too, right? No, just kidding, just making sure you're paying attention, right? Some of you are like, oh my goodness, this guy's a racist, I'm not coming back here. I do have a point. I do have a point that I'll make eventually, maybe, possibly. We chose this theme because I think, again, right? Here's the theory, everyone's faking it on some level, so on some level everyone's afraid of being found out. Everyone's motivated by this fear. And we try to cover it up by faking it. At AIV, we're motivated by something called vision, right? It's the word I mentioned all in the beginning, vision. And what's that? It's a picture of what the future could look like based not on fear, but on faith. And faith is always in something. And our faith is not in our grades, our faith is not in our personalities, our faith is not in how well we do things. Our faith is in Jesus and what he did for us and what he's constantly doing for us. And our vision, it's a picture, right? It's sort of abstract, it's a dream, but we articulate it in this statement, which is lives transformed, campuses renewed. That's not it. World changers developed. And so what does this mean, right? And I just want to go through the things that we think about as leaders, as members of AAIV, as people who are trying to follow Jesus. Lives transformed, right? What would it look like when people ask the question, how are you doing? We answer honestly, and then the person who asked, they cared about what they had to say. Campus review. Cornell recently did a survey of the Asian American community. It's crazy. Asian Americans are disproportionately represented in the number of suicides that have occurred at Cornell since the 1990s. Over 50%, but we make up 50% of the student body. Seniors were surveyed, and Asian Americans were most likely to be unsatisfied with their undergraduate experience. And hence, this is not just some numbers, these are people, right? People I've known, I might know, people you've already met too. It's numbers, right? But there are people behind these numbers, and that's why we care. If you think about it then, what this survey found about the Asian American community, is it possible that the Asian American community is chasing after the wrong things? What would it look like if the campus was different because of what the Asian American community was chasing after? World changes developed. Today's university shapes tomorrow's leaders. As a university student, you're like the top 0.001%. And it's some ridiculous number like that. And it's not a question of if you'll change the world or not. It's really not. Because you will, but it's a question of whether you'll change it for good or not. And I think honestly what I've learned from InterVarsity is learning how to change the world for the better. It's something I'm thinking a lot about as a senior. It's something you will eventually. And the second thing is, this vision is not just something that was made up by someone at Cornell, right? It's something not by me. InterVarsity is the national nonprofit organization with 600 chapters across the United States. It's a movement that is united by a passionate belief that Jesus has actually something very important to say on every student, on every campus who's ever failed. So that's everyone. And so here's the invitation. If there's anything that you heard me say, if there's anything you've seen here, right, that resonates with you, don't ignore that. 2, my theory, right, is that people are motivated by this fear of failure, rejection, shame, whatever. Okay? Everyone's afraid of being found out. And the second theory is that everyone's more afraid of not being found. Because that'd be far worse. To not ever be able to come clean to the people around you, to God, and to know that people might actually accept you for who you really are. And honestly, this is the theme for our semester, right? Faking it. If you come, stick around, you'll see how it pops up, and we chose it because you know what? Personally, I'm not that great at it, right? If I didn't have to share anything about myself, that would be like heaven. But I'm here, right? And I'm trying. And I think when I think about AAIV, it's not something we're spectacular at, but I think it's something that we want to charge forward, looking ahead, not being afraid, not being motivated by fear, but being motivated by our faith, right? By this vision. Everyone is afraid, more afraid of not being found in all ways. So if you think I'm right, I'll see you next week. If you think it's something worth considering, I'll see you next week. If you think I'm wrong, then prove it to me and yourself, and I'll see you next week. And so I'm going to transition to Joe, our small group coordinator. is gonna sort of make this thing a little bit more practical. And so I'm gonna ask Joe to come up, and then I'm gonna ask you guys not to be confused because Joe stands for Josephine, so she's indeed a girl.
Hi guys. So it's interesting because I actually have a friend back home who refuses to call me Joe because the name Joe brings to mind this image of a kind of large, thick-set man who will like come to your house and fix your plumbing for you or something like that. I hope you guys can see that I am not that kind of person. Either way, don't call me to fix your plumbing. Anyways, so like Daniel said, I'm here to make an invitation. And here at AAIV, we're all about making invitations. If you're new here, you may have been invited to our free bubble tea event yesterday, or you may have seen one of our quarter cards inviting you to be here and come check us out. Either way, I think that all of us are here in this room because we've been invited in one way or another to be here tonight. For me, like some of us seniors, that invitation was extended when we were freshmen. And for me, saying yes to that invitation has had a number of life-changing consequences. One of them being that I'm standing in front of you here today. So yeah, those are the kinds of invitations that we really care about here at AIV. Not just the ones that invite you to a fun event with free stuff, because honestly, who would say no to that? But the kind of events, the kind of invitations that have the potential to change your life. So some of you might be getting a little nervous right now. You're like, changed my life, like what did I get myself into? But don't worry, like I said, we're all about invitations, we're not about ultimatums. The beauty of an invitation is that it can be refused. In fact, God himself never forces us to believe in him, to obey him, to love him. He paid the ultimate price of sacrificing his son so that he can extend his hand to us in a beautiful invitation to come and see who he is. So that's what we're really inviting you to here tonight, to come and see, to find out for yourself who God is, and to form your own adult opinion of him. Because we're all adults, right? Yeah. Okay. So our theme this year is I'm Making It, but it doesn't stop there. We're not only concerned about exposing our own fakeness, we want to use that as a starting point to find out who we really are. Because here in AIV, we believe in a God who sees and knows everything. Does that sound a little scary to you guys? But what if I told you that the God who sees everything for what it truly is, the one who knows you better than you know yourself, looks at you and he looks at you with love, and he sent his son to die for you? Those of us here who follow God and call ourselves Christians, we've committed our lives to obeying him and imitating him, which means that we are trying our best by his power to love one another, no matter how much we may annoy or disappoint or hurt one another. And that kind of love and community doesn't happen from sitting in an auditorium one time a week for 2 hours. It happens as we let each other into our lives. So that's where small groups fit in, and you're wondering what the heck is a small group. So like Daniel said before, at AIV we are motivated by something called a vision. And the vision of our small groups is to establish and advance witnessing communities. So what does that mean and why does that matter? So let's all imagine for a moment what your life would look like if everyone you knew treated you with selfless love. That'd be pretty great, right? You never would have fights with your roommate. You wouldn't, no one ever talked about you behind your back. You never have to earn anyone's approval. So let's imagine for a second that everyone on this campus treated each other with selfless love. No one would ever look down on someone because of their race or socioeconomic status. Girls could walk through campus and go to parties without being afraid of sexual assault, and we wouldn't so we believe that this kind of love is possible. But we also believe that's only possible through the power of God. And so we seek to know Him and become more like Him by studying the Bible, by praying, by worshiping, and by loving and serving one another. And in this way, we hope to bless our surrounding community, whether they be classmates, or dorm mates, or teammates, or coworkers. So this may seem like a lofty goal, but the great news is that there is grace and forgiveness when we mess up, and also that we're not doing it alone. In fact, we have a wonderful team of small group leaders who are going to lead us on the journey. So if I could just ask my small group leaders to come up here and so that everyone can see who you are, please. So each person standing in front of you knows firsthand what it's like to be changed by the truth of God's love. And now they're incredibly passionate and excited about helping all of you find out for yourself who God is. Each of them is leading a small group at various times throughout the week and various locations across campus. I'm inviting you now to sign up for a small group. After we're all done here, we're going to have sign-up sheets right outside at the table where you got your name tags. So thanks, guys. You can sit back down. So before I hand it over to Chris again, I just want you guys to know that no matter what you may be feeling right now, if you're not Asian, whether you're a Christian or whether you're not even sure whether or not God exists, I really believe that all of you can find a family here in AIV. Something that drew me to this group when I was a freshman was the chance to make friends and live life with a diverse group of people of all different beliefs and backgrounds. And also that I really felt that no matter what happened to me, no matter what kind of trouble I got myself into, this was a group of people where I could come back to them and I could be accepted and cared for as I truly was. And I won't pretend that I've never been disappointed, but I will say that there are people in this room